Here we are in Turin for the ATP Finals with a guest a special correspondent, special tennis correspondent of the New York Times, Christopher Clarey. How are you, Chris?
It's great to be back in Torino, Ubaldo. It's been
You,
15 years since the Olympics that I was here, so it's good to be back.
you were covering the Olympics, but you have been covering the slams and tennis since 1990 when we met in Wimbledon for the first time.
Yeah, I showed up there, my very first Grand Slam, my very first really major tennis tournament of any sort. What a way to start. And Navratilova winning, and Edberg and Becker in the final, and all the European journalists from all over the world there gathered around. So it was quite an experience and quite a memory, yeah.
Yeah, it was the third time there was a same finals, Becker and Edberg. Edberg won in 88, Becker in 89, and Edberg again in 1990. So, what is your impression? You just came again to Torino about these ATP finals, and what is your impression of Torino and the way everything has been set up?
Well, it was curious for me to be back because when I was last in this building, they were playing ice hockey. So it's been a little bit of a change now.
Sure.
The conditions are fast for the tennis, but they're not that fast.
No, that was.
So, but no, it's good. I mean, I think it's important that Torino, after what it invested in the Olympics, gets a chance to have major international sport again. I was very curious to come back to see what it was like, and obviously, the bar is high. London and the O2 put the bar for this event very high.
Did you have time to give a look to Torino, to the city, or not yet? Because you just arrived. I saw you arriving, I think, 2 days ago or three.
Yeah, I came in from Paris on Wednesday, and I spent most of the day on Thursday in central Torino, actually downtown, because I was curious to see what it was like. And I had a couple restaurants I remembered from 2006 I had to go back to.
Yeah.
So I was there, and I kept getting surprised. I'd try to go buy something at the pharmacy. There'd be a tennis racket in the window, or I went to the bookshop, and there'd be a tennis racket in the window. So obviously the word is out in Torino about this event, and I think in a lot of ways, if the city embraces it, it'll be a success.
In this tournament, there is one person more than others than is missing. He's called Roger Federer. You may have heard of him. I think somebody told me that you just wrote a book about him, Il Maestro. Is that correct?
I've had him in my head for the last year, Ribaldo, yeah. I spent about a year writing the book, 6 months researching, 6 months writing. It came out in North America in August, and it's coming out in Italy and Germany now. And it's been really gratifying to see the response. We've sold over 100,000 copies around the world so far in a couple of months, mostly because of Roger's face, of course. But I put a lot into it, and it's my first big book. And you know about that. You've written yourself, but it's never easy, and this one was not easy either.
No, it wasn't easy. And then after the success of Open of Andre Agassi, apparently in the United States, I read your book is the number 2 in the selling.
Yeah, I think there's never really been a high-level publisher book about Roger in the United States. And I think because of the situation now with his career where he's at, obviously he's coming to a bit of a crossroads. I know he wants to come back. He's not sure if he'll be able to, at what level. I think there's kind of a nostalgic feeling about Roger, and I think there's a lot of respect, not just in the U.S., around the world, but in the U.S. about how he's managed himself, how he's approached people in his tennis over the years, and I think people want to sort of tap into that and explore that. So the book's timing has been quite good.
Roger Federer has won the ATP Finals 6 times. Novak Djokovic has won it 5 at the moment when we are talking. Do you expect Novak Djokovic to win it 6 times like Federer? This is, I may counterfoot you because this, who knows when they will see this interview, if Djokovic will have won or not.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that Novak will not win number 6 sometime, but conditions in Torino are pretty quick. Not his ideal speed, I wouldn't say, for his game. I mean, he's obviously learned how to adapt to everything. He's won Wimbledon numerous times and the French Open now twice, so he can handle different surfaces. But it's a little quicker than it might be ideal for him. So I think the odds are lower this year than they would be in a normal year. And he hasn't won this event in a while. So it's been more of a young man's game in recent years in terms of the ATP Finals.
About Federer, just give us a short anecdote that we will find in your book. I mean, just a little anticipation. One thing that, in a way, would have surprised the readers.
Well, I think for me, one of the things about Roger that always struck me was his positive energy as an individual and as a player. He told me a story when we were in Switzerland back in 2019 about when he was just starting out in Switzerland, trying to explain the philosophy and the mentality, what he had to overcome. And he said he was going to see his family dentist in Basel. And he was in the dentist chair, and the guy was working on his teeth, and hard to have a conversation, but dentists always want to talk in those moments. And he said, the guy said, "So Roger, what are you doing with your life?" And Roger had just decided to turn pro and leave school. And he said, "Well, I'm a tennis player. I'm going to go for tennis." And the dentist goes, "What? Well, what else are you doing with your life?" And Roger said, "I never went back to the dentist again." And I think to me that story tells a lot about the energy in Roger, the positivity that he has, and he wants to be surrounded by people who support his projects and believe he can do things because he believes in himself. So I think that to me was very telling.
Listen, Chris, I have to make a criticism towards you because you speak English, of course. You speak French, you speak Spanish, and you don't speak too much of Italian. Why is that? What you don't like of the Italian, what you don't like of Torino, what do you don't like the fact that Torino is hosting the ATP Finals for 5 years?
Hey, I'm not sophisticated enough yet, Ubaldo, to be a true Italian speaker, but I can tell you when I was traveling with my backpack when I was 21 years old around Europe, I spent a lot of time in Italy, and I promised before I died I would learn Italian, so I still got some time, I think.
Okay, you have 4 years more to come back to Torino, and I hope the New York Times is happy to have sent you here.
With pleasure to come back to Torino anytime.
Thanks a lot to Christopher Clarey, New York Times, our great friend and colleague. Welcome back, huh?
Thanks, Ubaldo. Grazie.